It is not even 40, it is 45 years now in the field of education. I started at the age of 23, soon after my marriage. Or it is before that. I was in Chennai, which is a very it's a cosmopolitan place. It was a metro city, but then soon thereafter I was transferred to a place like Jamnagar, wherein I had located in the map of India where exactly was this Jamnagar. And then when I went there, it was a stark revelation for me. Reason being, there were only 2 schools available. And in 2007, the SR Oil Refinery was set up, and they wanted a school to be set up. I grabbed that opportunity. I started off with 100 students, with 5 teachers, 5 staff, I must say. Not even teachers, 2 teachers and 3 others were staff with me. Today she stands so tall here with 3,000 children, 280 staff. But as a principal, you have the whole lot of auditorium with you, the whole lot of gamut of students standing before you. Every morning you are there, you're giving, kind of snippets to them, kind of a sermon to them, and then looking at the audience. And probably that made me as a real speaker as such. I don't even have to balance it over here. The reason being, it comes naturally to me. So all that you need is a support system. When your family understands you, and when the family understands your needs and your passion and your purpose, I think automatically everything settles down. Be the change is what Gandhiji said. But I extend it a little more. If you be the change, just change the beings. Life is beautiful. Unfold it layer by layer, layer by layer. Experience the essence of life. Life is so beautiful. Never crib and cry for anything. Don't you? We all want to leave a legacy behind. What is this life meant for? Is it just to live? No. I think if that is understood, I want to leave a legacy behind, then the action comes automatically to you.
Hi and welcome to Soul Velocity. I am Snehal Singh, your host, and I'm excited to take you on this incredible journey where we tap into the wisdom of entrepreneurs, authors, and creative visionaries, people who are transforming the world in ways we cannot even imagine. As the name suggests, Soul Velocity is all about finding that pivotal direction for your soul, mind, and body. A place where deep, real conversations ignite the fire to keep you moving forward. Right now, I'm thrilled to bring you a special series called as Voices and Verses, 100 Authors and Countless Stories. This series is all about celebrating the writing world, connecting with authors, publishers, marketers, entrepreneurs, screenwriters, playwrights, and filmmakers who are shaping the stories that inspire us all. Through these conversations, my goal is to encourage aspiring writers, support seasoned authors, and spark new ideas that can inspire you to take you on your own creative journey to the next level. Whether you're here to learn, connect, or simply just enjoy some amazing stories, you are in the right place. Let's dive in together. Hello and welcome to another episode of Soul Velocity, and we are doing special series Voices and Verses, 100 Authors and Countless Stories. We talk about second innings, we talk about taking chances again in life, and we do speak a lot about, and especially nowadays, that age is just a number. However, today we are going to talk to someone who has lived that, who says and shows by her just being and her mere presence that age is just a number and you can do anything that you want at any given point in time in your life. So let's welcome Usha. Usha Mani, who is an educator, a transformational speaker, world-class facilitator, and of course a certified coach and author as well. She's also very beautifully contributed to our latest book, Dare, by sharing a snippet of her journey with us in that book as well. So Usha, first of all, thank you for being here and sharing or giving us your time. And I am so excited to have this conversation with you because no matter how many times we have, get on calls and have those quick conversations, it's always interesting what you will bring to the table. And how beautifully you go ahead and share your experiences, because every word you say matters and has something to give. And that is something that I have experienced myself. So thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. And yes, tell us, or let's begin with your journey in education. It's spanned over 40 years. What inspired you to dedicate, in a way you have dedicated your life to teaching transformation? So what inspired you to do that?
Very, very good morning, Sonu. It has been, in fact, as I keep telling everybody that I call us Snehal as Sonu, it's just stuck onto me. So if pardon me for saying so, but still I call you as Sonu because you're my Sonu. That's it. Having said that, Sonu, 40, it is not even 40, it is 45 years now in the field of education. I started at the age of 23, soon after by my marriage. Or it is before that. I was in Chennai, which is a very it's a cosmopolitan place. It was a metro city, but then soon thereafter I was transferred to a place like Jamnagar, wherein I had located in the map of India where exactly was this Jamnagar. And then when I went there, it was a stark revelation for me. Reason being, there were only 2 schools available. I said, what is happening here? And that's when I decided to do something in the field of education. So I joined as a mere teacher into the same school which I'm talking about. And thereafter, I think you grab the opportunity. I always believe that when there is a will, you create your own way. Okay? And in 2007, the SR Oil Refinery was set up, and they wanted a school to be set up. I grabbed that opportunity, and we have the Nanda Vidya Niketan in Jamnagar, which is such a popular school today. Started off with 100 students, with 5 teachers, 5 staff, I must say. Not even teachers, 2 teachers and 3 others were staff with me. Today she stands so tall here with 3,000 children, 280 staff, teaching staff, and the others are all a history. And it has earned a great name in CBSE today, and I'm so proud of it. And I just retired in the year 2019 actually, and that's where another journey of mine began. So I'm a teacher not out of compulsion, let me tell you. I think I'm a born teacher. It is out of conviction I'm a teacher. So I think that is what it is. It's rewarding. And as I said, just a little to give an instant. Yesterday there was a call from this boy who's in Delhi, and he said, "Ma'am, do you recognize me? I am so speaking here. I'm inviting you for my wedding." I was so thrilled. He said, "I want you to be there at the center stage because you were the one who taught me what life means to." I think the teacher's job is supposed to be one of the most rewarding job that a person can get, because you connect with the human being to human being. I think no other job will give you this satisfaction. So I'm a born teacher. I love to be a teacher. I'm a teacher at always.
I love what you said. And what's important, and something that I realized at very early stage in life, okay? My first job ever was a maths teacher. Okay.
Oh,
And I was teaching 3rd to 5th standard maths and science. And when I, left that and moved to, the corporate world, and I think within 2 to 3 years, I already shifted myself into training again. And that's when I realized that, choosing to be a teacher has to come by choice. Like you said, you're a teacher by choice. You're a teacher because you love teaching. And I think that brings in a huge difference in the way we create minds. Because in a way, I think teachers create minds. That's what we do. So your contribution has been amazing, and it has been recognized as well. Like receiving a national award from the President of India. That I think was a great honor. And then very recently, last year itself, you also got awarded in the leadership category, the Mahatma Gandhi Award, which I think was in Oxford as well. So can you share what that moment means to you, and what happened in that moment?
I've in fact, it's a journey from 2015 to 2024. An amazing journey. 2015, as you mentioned, I got the President Award, and it's a great honor to have this medal, put on to me like the President, adorning me with this. I had tears in my eyes, literally. That was a very glorious moment. And I've shared that incident with you, so I'm not going back with that. But however, the one that gave the attention to the entire world, I must say, is this Mahatma Gandhi Award, which I received in 2024. A medallion, which was given by the Mayor of Oxford University. I was one of the Indians who was chosen to talk about Mahatma Gandhi. So and in fact, it was not even a platform for just the receiving the award, but I was also asked to speak. So that was a real golden moment for me, because standing before a coveted audience, and then I'm there with them and at Oxford with all the stalwarts out over there, and I didn't know what to speak about, but then I prepared myself as to what I'm going to talk on. You know what I talk on? Guess. It was not about Mahatma Gandhi as a leader, but I talked about Mahatma Gandhi as a father of his own 4 children. That shook the audience, because everybody expected me to talk about Mahatma Gandhi. I said, you know about Mahatma Gandhi? It's all a glorious, we know about him. Do you know what sort of a father was he? And then that's where my speech began. And incidentally, after that, the mayor booked me for another event on the next day to speak at the Oxford University with the students. What more can I ask for in my life? That was amazing. That was amazing. In fact, I'm given this award with the India map over here. And this was given to me by Rajmohan Gandhi ji, that is Mahatma Gandhi ji's grandson. He said, hey, Shusha, India is in your hands. Shape the future. So if you care, you dare. Otherwise, it doesn't happen. So that was a golden moment again at Oxford. So what do I say?
Thank you. Thank you for sharing it, because I think we have, and you must have heard it all your life, that teaching is an absolutely thankless job, or, shaping or helping people is an absolutely thankless job. But I think we are not looking for that thank you. We're looking for this moment of just knowing that, okay, I have the capability and the ability and a choice to shape a mind, shape a group, shape a community, shape a country. And you have been living that, okay? And you're living by an example. Like, as I said, even in the introduction, that age is just a number is something that you are proving every single day. I know that you embraced your coaching and a speaking journey at the age of 67. So what motivated you to start that chapter, this new chapter, with, of course, completely different forte? Because being associated with a school for so many years and living a very employee mindset lifestyle to a certain extent, then in your retirement choosing to move towards somewhere to an entrepreneurial mindset, and shifting everything, and plus the regular biggest challenges that come with age. So what motivated you to start this new chapter?
What a beautiful question. It's a transformation. It's an absolute transformation. It's a paradigm shift altogether. But somewhere down the line, at the age of, probably at the age of 11, I had this urge to become a public speaker, because I wasn't able to speak at all. I'll talk about that a little later. But then, and I think that must have been burning in me, inside me, with that, fueling all the time. But as a principal, you have the whole lot of auditorium with you, the whole lot of gamut of students standing before you. Every morning you're there, you're giving, kind of snippets to them, kind of a sermon to them, and then looking at the audience. And probably that made me as a real speaker as such. Mm-hmm. So that has given me a platform for me to grow. So when I retired, I don't want to use the word retired, when I rewired myself. I said, who am I? Who am I, this Usha? What is it this Usha wants to do in life? There came this thought of becoming a coach initially. I said, yes. Somebody said, Usha, you will be a better coach. And then teachers can never be a better coach, you know that, because we always give, solution to every problem. So coaching was something that I had to listen intuitively and then drive them to it. That was that's Sonal's forte. It is not my Snehal's forte. It is not mine, of course. But then I plunged into that. But then this urge of becoming a speaker was polished when I joined the Toastmasters. I joined the Toastmasters and won laurels after laurels. In fact, I can say that I was awarded the first winner for a humorous contest, or whether it is a international speaking contest. I was there always with them, and that gave me an edge to say that, Usha, you can speak. You will speak now. Now, was there a purpose to it? It wasn't. It was not fulfilling. That's when I decided, unless and until I transform the lives of the people, there is no point in my speaking for myself. So from Toastmasters, I moved away and became the keynote speaker for many of these organizations. And I started putting out. And the reward came to me when I founded the institution called Parent-Teen Bond, where I'm closely connected with teenagers. And started speaking on that language of the teenager. That got it by a storm. And today, I think without any hesitation, at any point of time, I keep speaking and speaking and speaking. That's it. So speaking has become my passion. And that passion gives me the strength. And that gives me the vision to where I am today. So you must have a purpose. You must have a passion. You must have a strength. You must know what is your strong thing, and the value add to it. Add value to that, and think that becomes your legacy to live. So this is the legacy I'm leaving behind at the age of 68 now.
Thank you for putting it so beautifully. And you did speak about Parent-Teen as well, and I, somewhere have been a part of that journey where Parent-Teen was born. So your book, It's Now or Never, focuses on parenting teenagers as well. So what, according to you, are, and that's been your forte as well. I've seen you interact with kids and teenagers, and you understand the pulse of it. So what are the biggest mistakes you think parents make, and how can they avoid them?
First and foremost, let me talk about two things. There are two things that I need to talk here. One about the book that I was inspired by Snehal again, and that's a big story to tell. I don't want to tell the story again, but then she said, "Usha, why can't you write a book? Why are you all the time talking to me?" And that's where I said, "Usha, I can't write." She said, "No, you can." So Snehal, you were there. You knew the journey. I think you can narrate the story better than I do. That is how it was. And now It's Now or Never was born. And it is like a baby to me. I nurtured that baby to me because it was all... See, we have parenting. The teen is something very different. It is not parenting. It is not parenting. It is a parent-teen. It is a parent-teen bond, because we need to create that bond which is missing, which is the missing link. Okay, so Now or Never came as a, what do I say? It came as a corollary to what I was talking about. And in that Now or Never, I have given the complete insight of a mind of a parent as to how to deal. Today, if I go back and see in Google or everywhere, there isn't a book on parenting the teens. You have innumerous books on infants, you have innumerous books on adults, you have innumerous self-development books, but you hardly see, you have articles on parent teens, but there isn't a kind of a book to, validate a thing. So that became my focus. And in this book, I've also talked about how do you connect with your child? How do you really connect with your child as a thing? Answering to your second part of the question, that is to say, what is a mistake that parents do, is misunderstand your child. The child who has been nurtured right from the childhood, whom you knew, everything. But as he grows up to a teen, you understand that he's going through so many challenges at the same time. The age between 12 to that of the 18 or 19 is the most difficult period of a child's life, because he's going through so many changes, be it hormone changes, whether it is going to be physical, mental, or emotional. All the changes happen at the same time to tell him that you are an adult. Now, here the parents are thinking that he's still a child. So, this sort of a misunderstanding happens. So, here the parents are struggling to connect with their teens, and teenagers are being misunderstood. So, there is always this dichotomy, and both of them do have this kind of difference of opinion. And that's where I have come to them to say that this one little philosophy of being a parent is in this book. You can really find the traffic signal philosophy. Please, please, please follow this traffic signal philosophy in your life, which will change. How does it change? When the traffic signal says stop, then what does it say? It's an yellow light, amber light, am I right? And it says you get ready. And then the green light says you redirect. So first what you do is stop to listen to them. Listen so intuitively as to what is he saying. Catch the emotions. That is, you reflect here. In the amber state, you reflect on what did he say. I don't want to go to physics class. I don't want to be there. So what does he mean? Does he mean that he doesn't like the subject or he doesn't like the teacher? Was he being bullied in the class or was it? Why does he say that he doesn't want to go? Just catch up the emotions. That is, you're reflecting. So spend some time. And you redirect him rather than giving a solution. Oh, you don't like physics? Then let's switch over to you can switch over to commerce. That is not the solution. You just redirect him. What do you want to do? What is it that we are looking at? Why don't we do it together? So when you put that we factor in a child, the child learns that my parents are with me. It's not you. It's me. I am there for you. I think that one single word will bring in a lot of trust in the child. I think this is how this entire book has been conceived. And I do conduct workshops for parents and teens also. And in this workshop, in this book, I also mentioned about the 4 C's. Today it is not about academic excellence. They need these 4 skills. That is your communication, your collaboration, your creativity, and of course, your critical thinking. Please, parents, do develop these 4 skills for this. That would be the only thing that I would tell them. Like, if you're a parent and asking me for advice, that's where it is.
Thank you.
I've covered most of what you have asked me to do.
Yes, and very beautifully, because it does sum up many things and does, give us that food for thought, because while I don't like agreeing with it, somewhere we have outsourced our thinking, and we're not taking that moment to think, that to pause, to stop. And your traffic signal theory really works fantastic in any part of life, whether you're a parent or not. Okay, the reflection, and that's why I love your Reflect with Usha, because it's true. Reflection brings in so much, and but for that we need to pause. Okay, so before I move to, I want to know a lot when it comes to your teaching and your experience, but because we're in the flow of parenting and so on, I want to just go ahead and ask you straight about your SET program, because you have been delivering SET for a long time, which is your self-effective transformation program. It's a workshop. So how do you help different people in their personal and professional lives through this program?
Yeah, I think it's a wonderful question that you've asked. In fact, you'll be very much surprised that I'm there, very active on social media. You know that. In fact, Usha.speaks talks a volume about the parenting part of it. So every week I keep posting things. That's become my real passion now, to get my Insta going and my website going, and of course, all the things happening. That's a part. So I am really visible in the outside world as one of those who could, set up a kind of a workshop. I have been doing workshop for a long time because I'm a trained British Council trainer for teachers and schools. That's one part of it. You're given a curriculum and then you're going there and you're delivering as a facilitator. But that did not even, that was not sufficient for me. I felt that somewhere I'm missing the link. And that's when I started this beautiful program called SET. That is Self-Effective Transformation. SET stands for that. Because you are the one who has to work yourself. It's nobody can, I can only give you the gyan. But unless and until you implement it, you cannot pass through this phase. And to whom did I do that? I said I selected this particular community. My target audience is only parents and students from grade 8, 9, not even 10, because the 10th standard there's a lot of pressure, and if so, the 11th. But for me, that age group of the 7th, 8th, and 9th standard students are the ones who are really the neglected lot in any school. So I felt that it is better to deliver this kind of a program for parents. How do I get to the school? How do I get to the school, or how do I... And in a school, what happens is you have the parents' body coming in, because school cannot run. That is one of the pillars of school is the parents. So when you have the parents of these children, first I conduct workshop for the parents. I really conduct a workshop for the parents, opening up their panorama and opening their problems, and then sitting across and then working out. And what comes out of it is I am not able to get across with my child. I cannot speak to my child. He's all the time angry. He doesn't do his work. He's very lazy. All these allegations will go on. In fact, they say that they are irritable, they are ignorant, they don't bother about anybody. And all these things are going on. That is when I said, let me connect with the parents. So I asked the school if I could have about 1.5 hours with the parents, where I conduct a kind of a session with the parents. And if they're ready for 3 days per program, I'm there with them. But initially it takes that 1.5 hours, which is given to the school. And they invite me as a special speaker, and then there we are doing. What comes out of it is again this traffic signal philosophy, where they need to have an empathetic listening. And they say, oh my, we have never looked at it like this from this angle. I said, better start looking at it now. Yeah. And from there emerges, do you want your child to be a part of it? Yes. Then comes the students forum. Sometimes the school themselves, they said, you take it for 8th, 9th and 10th standard students, or 8th, 9th and 11th. But, or subsequently, these parents, enroll their children for the next program. That is step 2, wherein they enroll them for the set program for the children, which I call it as, shift your gear and surge ahead, wherein the teenagers are there with me and them. We talk about their challenges, we talk about their belief system, we talk about their success, we talk about the goals that they can set in. And in fact, we talk about ABC goals. How do they set in their ABC goals? And then we talk about the time management, which is the most difficult thing. And last but not the least is about how to use social media effectively. For 12 hours, it's about, my programs are for 3 days, 4 hours, or 4 days, 3 hours, whichever is the school gives me. I work on that platform. Sometimes I have smaller groups at home when they come over, and then I have that too. But that is a weekend program which I conducted for, again, 12 hours. But I give one gap, like Saturday it happens, then the next Saturday we meet. So continuously for 2 to 3 months they are there with me. That changes their paradigm of life, because now they are focused as to what they want in life. They're not growing in darkness or something. And that is how this program works for me. Now I think even the, people have realized it. And even the corporates do engage me only to be a parent, because you may be a CEO of a company, or you may be a CFO, but yet you are a parent, am I right? And if you want, what are you working for? You're working for your child. True. So are you the best parent? So this has happened. In fact, I've got a huge opening with Nayara Limited, which is again an oil refinery unit, who asked me to take sessions for the parents. So I think it's very rewarding. Life is so rewarding here. And that is very beautiful. In fact, I just want to illustrate it with a little example to say, a child who came to me, the mother who came to me and said, my son who doesn't want to become a doctor, though, he's preparing for his NEET, the last minute he says, I don't want to become a doctor. And what does he want to become? He wanted to become a cartoonist.
Wow.
And what a shift. The parents could not even digest this idea. They said, what do we do, ma'am? Please tell him that it is just about 2 months for him to appear for NEET. And now he says that he wants to become a cartoonist. What do we do? So that's when this whole program started with this little boy. Mm-hmm. And that is how I conceived these 8-12 modules. And it is beautifully. And today, he wants to become a doctor, but yet he's doing his the work of cartoon. You know what is he doing? Every lesson is being, taken in the form of cartoon. And he revises his lesson through cartoon. So I think it is both fulfilling. That's where it is.
I love that. Usha, you have impacted thousands of students, teachers, parents. So I know it's a lot to simplify, and yet I will ask you if you could give us what key lessons you have learned about human potential and growth in this journey of connecting with so many people.
I can put it into one simple word: change, parivartan. Okay, you need to adapt, you need to adapt, and you need to adopt. I only change practically I only change the spelling is the same actually. You just, change the vowels there, it becomes easy for you. When I say adapt, we need to adapt to the new situations, new challenges. Okay? And you adapt to the challenges that are there with it. And of course, you adopt the new ideas, the new learning, and you become the lifelong learner. Don't go back to the same old story to say that when I wasn't, when I was a child, I used to walk with one slipper, and the child is going to say, "Oh, are you walking with one slipper now?" No, you aren't. Am I right? So, and then let's not go back to the past. Now look at the future. The AI is the future.
True.
Blink of an eye, you have a parent. Blink of an eye, you have everything. So, how are you going to control your child? So that is where it is. You need to adapt yourself. You need to adapt yourself, and you need to adopt the changes so easily, and you become the part of the city. You're a lifelong learner, yeah. I don't think I can say anything else beyond
I
this.
think you
But
simplified it in the most beautiful way and an easy takeaway way as well. I think that's our takeaway for today's conversation, definitely, which is adapt, and adopt. The three A's, very beautifully said. Usha, you play so many roles. Like I admire you for playing so many roles of being an educator, a speaker, an author, a mother, a grandmother. Okay, and you still continue to evolve and grow. So how do you maintain that balance, or is there a word? Is there balance actually that exists?
uh, it's a very, very beautiful question that you've asked me. I don't even have to balance it over here. The reason being, it comes naturally to me. So, all that you need is a support system. When your family understands you, and when the family understands your needs and your passion and your purpose, I think automatically everything settles down. Okay? Even when I was working as a principal or a director of education, my husband was a pillar of support for me. He was always there. Usha, you can do it. You are there always. You can do it. So I think that you can do it, you can do it, you can do it every time made me a stronger person day by day. And today, whatever I am, even with him or without him now, I'm so very fortunate that I'm able to pursue my passion the way I'm doing it. The roles just keep falling. Like last month, I was there in Singapore with my grandson, and he looks up to me as if, like, I'm a great orator. And then he just looks up to me like, Mama, how do you speak in front of a 1,000 audience? And then I'm there teaching him those skills. I'm talking to him in his language. Either I'll be talking about the movies that he has seen. I think it's just you keep rolling yourself into, as I said, adopt, adapt, and adopt it to the situation. You become one with them. I believe in one thing. When I'm talking to that person, whomsoever I'm talking to, I give my 100% to it at that moment. I don't think about past and present. And right now I'm talking to Snehal. My 100% is with her. So I don't bother about anything else. So I think when it comes out of your emotions, you get connected so very easily. And I am very good at connecting. I think I feel connected so very easily with people that it has become my nature. So that's how it is. So I didn't have to find it a little difficult to balance life as what people are saying. I think the same three A's have to be applied in your life, and that changes everything for you.
Beautifully put. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It has been an amazing conversation, and therefore, I want to just add a little twist to it. So, let's do a quick rapid fire. Okay. So, I'm going to go ahead, ask you a few questions, and see what you can, respond to it at a faster speed.
It's going to be difficult, like KBC apparently.
Not really, and not even Karan Johar's coffee, but little close to that. All right. The first question that I want to ask you is one book besides yours that you would recommend every parent to read.
One book, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, for family, for people, for teenagers. I think that has changed my life. And that's one book that I definitely would recommend even today.
Perfect. A teacher from your past who deeply inspired you.
A teacher, I think here I really owe it to Kittu sir, who was my inspiration, not for speaking. Can you imagine, Snehal? When I was about 12, I was trolled. I was really trolled by students because I used to stutter and stammer. There was this particular teacher who just picked up on me. He said, Usha, you want to speak in English? Because I didn't know the language of English then. And he trained me, he tutored me. I know sir is not there with me, Kittu sir is not there with me. And believe me, every Teacher's Day, he will be the one who will call me at 5 o'clock in the morning to say, I'm really proud of you, my child. If I can make my teacher proud, what else do I want in life, you tell me? And he's just passed away in last month, but I owe it to him. I really owe it to him, Kittu sir.
Okay, one word that describes you today.
Usha is a one word because Usha is the first ray of sun which hits the soil in the morning. It's full of hope, it's full of aspiration, it's full of zeal. What else do I want? I get inspired with my own name. That's it. Name is my identity. Yeah.
If you could go back in time and give young Usha a piece of advice, what would it be?
I think be yourself and your voice matters. That's the only thing that I would tell.
Wow. Tea or coffee? What fuels your creativity?
Oh, yeah. A coffee in my hand, sitting in my balcony, just walking across that little pond across in my house, which I've been asking Snehal to come over to be here. It's a holiday home.
Yes.
That kicks me, really kicks, that's a kickstart for me. But for me, even everything can be, even the object around me inspires me. The other day I was walking on on a walkway, I saw these cubes of, cubes put out on the pavement. I said, if these were to be the men and women standing up and admiring my speech, what would it look like? And I think so it comes automatically to, there is no kind of a time wherein I fix it. It comes at any time. I keep penning down, and then thereafter that becomes my speech for next event. I think more than writing, I do love to speak, so I just write speeches.
Beautiful. I know you've answered this in a way, but I still will go ahead and ask you a life mantra you live by.
Be the change is what Gandhiji said, but I extend it a little more. If you be the change, just change the beings. And that is my lifelong learning. And life is beautiful. Live it up. I think there's no two ways to think about it. Life is beautiful. Unfold it layer by layer, layer by layer. Experience the essence of life. Life is so beautiful. Never crib and cry for anything.
Loved it. Thank
I've
you.
got this particular thing has come to me from my mother. My mother lived life till the last. So I think that is the zest with which we all live together. Thank you.
One last rapid fire question, that is a surprising hobby or talent that people don't know about you.
Are, you're asking me. I want to be the actor. Acting with Amitabh Bachchan. That's it.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
So it's still not, I've not given up. One day or the other, you will see me with Amitabh Bachchan in any of the screens. Not in KBC. In one of the movies, I'll be there with him. That's where it is. So that is aspiration.
Amen to that. I think, see, that's where I say
Either I'll be Tony Robbins somewhere. I'll be Tony Robbins somewhere. And the lives of others. These are two people whom I definitely want to be there. That's it.
Beautiful. And Usha, it has been a very intriguing conversation. At the same time, there is a lot for all of us to take away, and I myself am probably going to listen to this episode a few more times to just take in and absorb everything that you have given us today. So just as a closing question that I would like to ask you is, you believe and you have shown through your action your mantra, which is giving back to the community. Okay. So, are there any initiatives or projects that are very close to your heart, and or anything that you would like to invite the audience to start doing, which you feel is a beautiful way of giving back to the community?
Of course, as I said, don't you, we all want to leave a legacy behind? What is this life meant for? Is it just to live? No. I think if that is understood, I want to leave a legacy behind, then the action comes automatically to you. So, in fact, I'm very proud to say that I've been elected as the president of Rotary Club, which is giving me an opportunity to work with these children who really need me. Okay, it's not I'm working. It's I'm working with the children who are going to be probably in a lower strata of society. Working with them, it gives me immense pleasure. That is one thing that I'm really pursuing at the moment. Give it back to the society. When you give it back to the society, automatically everything comes. Here I remember this little girl, Manisha, who came and said, she said, Tame mane banao so? Will you teach me? And that really, it stirred my heart. And I really started working with these children who really need me. I'm starting a club which is going to have these 4 C's. That is communication, critical thinking, and creativity and collaboration. Put together, this is going to be the Maha Mantra for the 21st century. Let our teenagers learn these 4 skills. So I'm starting one club on that. More than that, I think I've had a talk with Snehal also, stating that, I have written a book for parents, from the parents' perspective. I definitely want to write a book from the teenagers' perspective. And maybe I'd be interviewing about 50 to 60 teenagers and bring out their essence of life and how do they look at life and what is their problem. These are 3 things, 3 major things that I have in my life. And for every one of you, who is present, please learn to leave a legacy behind. Tomorrow when you die, the world must remember you. Even if not the world, the community must remember you. If not the community, at least the family members must remember you. So just don't waste your life and crib and cry and say, यहाँ पेन होता है, यहाँ दुखता है, उधर दुखता है. No, छोड़ो कल की बातें and आगे निकलो. That is my Maha Mantra for this entire session.
Thank you so much. It
is a pleasure to be with Snehal and Sonu, as I dearly call her. She's such an inspiration for me. She came at the time when I needed that the most. So I can never ever forget her. And you have been such an inspiration for me, Sonu. I feel it is as if I'm talking to my daughter Samira. That is the same. I don't even feel the difference. I'm being focused here and talking to you. But you are a lovely, 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 lovely human being. Thanks, as you say.
Thank you so much. And it is the same as well. I think there are no coincidences, and we meet for a reason. And our relationship somewhere is a great reminder for me that we meet for a reason, and there is more to life. And thank you for inspiring all of us to just.
I think the last word that I want to say is, in fact, I don't talk to Snehal as often as I would. But the day when I pick up the phone and speak to her, I can continue the conversation from where we left. And that is the kind of relationship that you need to build with everybody.
Yeah.
If that happens, the world is a beautiful place. And we are the only thing driving force in me is the present generation, the teenagers of today, at least in India, we must look forward to create a future for them. So ask yourself, what have you done with your child? And if the answer is to say that, yes, I've created a beautiful human being for the future, go with it. And that's where it is. Otherwise, join my workshop. As simple as that.
Absolutely. And a great reminder that life is beautiful, and if we can just live it up. Okay. So thank you for that amazing reminder. And that was Usha for you guys. As I always say, we all are born abundant. All we need to do is claim that abundance by taking one step at a time. I'm hoping that you've taken that one step today. And if you haven't, the day is not over yet. So I will see you very soon with the next author.
Thank you, Sonu, as I always love you. Thank you.